So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K. And guess who I have here? He has been missing in action. He's been in a DR for about 3 weeks, and he finally made it home yesterday. He had a lot to go through, but he made it. And so we are glad that Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, is back in the studio, and he is with us. We did not have our show on Tuesday, but we moved it to Thursday. And of course, we got a pretty hot topic, and is that of Nia Long and her fiance.
God, I was in love with that woman. I was in love with that woman.
So I'm trying to pronounce his name. Ime, I think, Udoka, I think. Ime Udoka. I hope I said it right. So we're going to discuss their whole situation, from him coaching to the relationship, as much as we know, right? And of course, we're going to try to draw an educational point to it, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. And so, of course, you guys know we're not live here, so you'll be watching the podcast, the playback. So I'd like to say thank you to YouTube, y'all participating and giving your commentary and all that as we are speaking. And so, again, we're going to talk about that of Nia Long and that of Ime Udoka and everything. So, Donovan, what say you?
Did she ever marry that dude? I know they had a child together. Did she ever get married?
We're gonna get into all of that.
Okay. I didn't do my research. I didn't do my research on that part, but I used to love that woman so bad. And Love Jones, that was just the movie, just to see her where she really was blossoming out. And it's this thing that's going on. I can't wait to get into it. So we drop some facts. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion in regards, and I'm gonna keep my feelings out of it in regards to Nia. So let's just talk about it. But do us a favor, you guys, hit the like, share, subscribe, and even become a member button. It helps the algorithm and it helps get the message out. And also, which really helps us get it out, is share this on your own platforms, because as these debates are going on all over the Black internet, it's just amazing. All these things that we're talking about, who started hip hop, Passport Brothers, all these things that we never talked about years ago, because everything was zoned from where you're at. California, West Coast, people talked about West Coast issues and stuff like that. Now everything is initiated. So also in politics, as now a lot of the boule is being exposed, and people are seeing that the Democratic Party might not be. And if you ask me, it really isn't a party for Black people. They talk a good game, but it's all about showing proof. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. And so, again, Nia Long, I don't even want to make this about Nia Long just yet. Okay, let's kind of move her to the side. So it's not even her husband, it's her fiance. And it sounds like that they've been together since 2010, fiance for a long time, needless to say. But anyway, Ime Udoka, Udoka, I hope I'm saying it right. Forgive me if I'm not. Anyway, he is at this moment, I think, still the head coach of the Boston Celtics, and they went to the finals last year, and it was quite a sight to see. I guess that was his first year coaching, and so one of a few, if maybe the only, I don't know, Black coach in the NBA, and so unfortunately, I said one of maybe I don't know.
Yeah, you got Doc Rivers. There's a few of them in there.
So a few. So it's not as many as there are other coaches. Let's put it that way. Okay. So, and it seems like he's, I don't know, fairly young in the larger scheme of things. And so, unfortunately, he got caught up in, I guess, what some would call a scandal. He was in an affair, and I guess with somebody that worked for the organization, which sounds like it's fraternization, and maybe they, being the Boston Celtics, frown upon that. So they said he is facing suspension upwards of a year. Now, I have heard via my athletic source that he may be resigning, because I guess it sounds like if they suspend him, maybe he won't get all of his money, but if he resigns, that he will, or something like that. And so it sounds like he may be resigning. But of course, the sports world and a lot of commentators are kind of up in arms about it, because they're like, why are they taking such an austere approach with him? Because it was a consensual relationship. So it wasn't like it was a, he did something to, or a Me Too thing. I guess whoever this woman is, and it doesn't sound like anybody really knows who she is just yet. A lot of people have tried to speculate and saying, oh, it's this person, that person, but nothing official has come out. And so that relationship was consensual from what they're saying. So again, it wasn't a Me Too type of thing. He took it from her or anything like that. So a lot of the sports pundits are like, well, that's kind of harsh for, you know, him to be punished so egregiously for something that was consensual. You know, they were adults and things like that. Now, of course, there's this other position people are taking and saying, well, you know, Brett Favre recently got caught up, and he is the ex-quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He got caught up in a scandal in Mississippi in which he received about $7 million or so from the welfare fund. About 1.6 million of that went to his daughter's school, Mississippi State, I guess it was, or something like that, wherever she goes to school.
Yeah, we're actually, let me correct you. It's $5 million that went to build this new stadium for his sister.
That's why I said about
yeah, and
dollars.
Yeah, and then he got $1 million and something in speeches that he never gave.
Right, I was getting to that, brother.
Sorry, I'm just making sure we don't get sued.
You ain't got to correct me, brother. I got it.
See, you can't correct these damn sisters. Damn. No, go ahead.
Correct me with the right information.
That was the right information. Go ahead.
So as I was saying, about $1 million or so went to his daughter's school for the volleyball program. He did get about $1 million or so for a speaking engagement he never showed up to. And, you know, some other things. And so at first he was saying, oh, I didn't know, you know, Brett Favre, I didn't know where it came from. But then some text messages came out saying, well, you know, this is pretty easy money, and, you know, kind of bragging about getting away with a bag that he really didn't earn. Of course, you guys know that in Jackson, Mississippi, they are still battling with the water situation where the water is not clean. And for a while it wasn't working. And, you know, the same old thing is predominantly in a black city, which is Jackson, is to the tune of 83%. All right. So a lot of people are saying, well, damn, you know, everybody's up in arms about what Ime did in the organization, but they being in the sports world, the handlers, the owners, or whatever, if you will, they're not too concerned, even though Brett Favre is not playing anymore. There was kind of like crickets around the whole situation. And so when I think about Ime, I hope I'm saying his name right, and what he did, it's like, damn, they are taking a really harsh approach with him. Because you think about somebody like Bill Clinton, who, you know, got caught up in a scandal with another woman. You know, I did not have sexual intercourse relations with that woman, but nevertheless, you know, he did. And so they impeached him for lying. Of course, you know, he remained the president and all of that. But a lot of people are saying ultimately the issue is between him and Nia, because that's who he really betrayed. You know, you should not be, you know, I guess if that organization have rules, you shouldn't be breaking them, but suspension for a year. Now, some pundits are also saying, well, maybe this is sort of a loophole to get rid of him or whatever the case is, but there's a lot to be said about the situation. Now, bringing Nia into the conversation, of course, he has been with her for about 10 years, or no, 12 years. They have a 10-year-old son. Sounds like they have been engaged, from what I read, I don't know how true it is, since 2010. That's a really long engagement, but you know what, do your thing. People do whatever they need to do. But I remember seeing Nia Long during the finals. She's putting it on her social media. She's cheering for a man. They're doing great, and she's happy. Of course, some of those games she was at. And so the internet has gone wild with basically, how do you fumble Nia Long, which, you know, because some people consider one of the most coveted sisters in not even the world, but the industry, just like Nia Long, you know, she's beautiful, she's natural, she's chocolate, she's seen, but of course, we don't know all that they got going on behind closed doors, but the internet nevertheless is all about the conversation. So Donovan, just with that, what say you?
Well, you know, if Nia's on the market now, you know, Nia, call me. My number's 976. So, but you're absolutely right. She's a very attractive woman. She's made some missteps in some of her career when she was doing The Best Man Part 2, when she was saying like having a white man as her love interest in the movie. It was just kind of weird when she was doing that. But yeah, she's been with this man for a very, very long time. You know, in regards to her fiance, and I think they've been engaged for a long time. Ladies, I don't understand what is with these long engagements and all. That's another story, but it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to get married and you love somebody, get married. And if you want to get out, the laws are made to where you can get out and you guys can take us clean, right? So, you know, I just don't understand these long engagements. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense when the laws are slanted in women's favor. So, but in regards to the ownership and her boyfriend. Now, you know, yeah, he is the coach and doing that. And he was a professional basketball player, you know, in his own right and stuff like this. Now, we don't know what his package was. Now, you know, if I'm the coach or whatever, we know there's always policies of non-fraternization. In the military, we have policies of non-fraternization, but there's all kinds of ways to go around that. Like in an example, in my situation, I was an enlisted person that crossed over to be an officer. So the woman I'm messing with was enlisted as well. So because I crossed over to be an officer, am I violating the military policy of, whatever? Yes and no. So it depends on how you look at it. But to me, the question with this situation is, I think it comes down to, was the woman he's messing with white? That's what I think it comes down to. Because if it was let's say a black cheerleader, Dwight Howard's girl, ex baby mama, what's her name? She was on the Housewives, Basketball Wives or something like that.
I don't know who you
remember the one that was popping it at the pool and stuff, and she was really toxic. She was really small and stuff. But anyway, she was an Orlando Magic cheerleader, and he had messed with her. And then, of course, they kick her off the team or whatever. She leaves the team, whatever the situation was. So there's all kinds. It isn't like this stuff doesn't go on. I think it comes down to making an example of this guy, number one, because, he's a young coach or whatever. We don't know. Seriously, this is my opinion. It's not Demetra's opinion. I think it comes down to if the woman is white. Think about it. They're in Boston. I'm not saying people because you're from Boston, you're racist, but you got the Irish mafia in there and all this other stuff. I think it comes down to that because Doc Rivers, another black man, he was caught up years ago in a type scandal, and yet he's still coaching around the league and still a viable coach and doing all that other stuff. All kinds of guys get caught up in this type of stuff. But for some reason, this particular guy in his first year as the head coach now has to pay the ultimate penalty. And the only reason I can see is why they would do that is if his partner who was in a consensual relationship was white. That's just my opinion.
So, yeah, I thought of that, too, because we don't really know who it is, but it should say that, and if I didn't say it already, that the lady also works for the organization. Maybe she's white. I don't know. But also a lot of people are saying, because he's black is why he is probably being treated this way.
Of course.
But I want to take it from this angle. Let's say it's because he's black. Don't he know he black? You know what I mean? Don't he know he black? And when are we as black people? Let's just take that angle for a minute.
Okay.
When are we as black people going to start saying, I'm working for a white organization?
Okay.
And I can't act like white people. I know that I'm probably going to have to tiptoe a little bit or whatever it is I need to do to not be seen, kind of. So what I mean by being seen, I mean by, if you the head coach, which is a coveted job, probably making millions of dollars
You're the face of the franchise, yeah.
You're the face of the franchise and you're shaping the team. Why would you give them any room to say, oh, we can't have that there? You broke the rules, because we know that we've heard and seen plenty of white athletes do all kind of things, say all kind of things, and get away with it. But it's like, black people need to realize when you're working for the man, because even though you're making millions of dollars, you're working for the man, that you can't do what they do and get away with it. And so if you're going to cheat on your wife, because that's a moral thing, right? If you're going to cheat on your wife, don't do it at work where let's say, some people are saying, oh, where they were just looking for a loophole to, get his job or whatever.
They found it. They found it.
Don't give them a reason to do that. Keep your nose clean. Don't, as some people say, S or crap where you eat. Because what do you say? The first thing they're going to do is, and I've been fired before once in my life, and, they found a loophole. They ended up having to pay a lot of money for doing it. But anyway, then the first thing they're going to do is go to the manual. Okay, per this rule, you do understand that there's no fraternization going on, right? Yes, right. And right here, is this not your signature? Yes, this is my signature. So you signed and said you understood that if you are creeping with somebody that works here, you could lose your job, right? Or be there's no argument, Right. So is it because he's black? I would say, okay, maybe is a possibility, but don't you, Ime, don't you know you black?
Yeah, it's kind of like the excuse the black cops use in regards to how they conduct themselves when out on patrol. They act like, they're not black first, they're blue first. You know what I mean? But in this guy's situation, brother, you had me along. What were you thinking? But again, we don't know what's going on in the relationship. Maybe she, wasn't putting out or wasn't doing her wifely. We don't know. But the point is this. With this man, if this was any other person outside of the organization, this wouldn't even be a story. This wouldn't even be a story because, technically he's not married. Technically. See, and that's another thing, ladies. You can't even get him on the adultery thing in because you technically weren't married. Now, maybe they're common law if you want to look at that, but oh my God, when are we, Nia Long is is in our age group, right? What, brother, why haven't, and I think he's younger than her, but the point is, why haven't you locked this woman down, at this point? Nia, you're 50 something years old. I'm not saying you're not beautiful and things like that, but golly, now she's upset at the relationship. I hope they can repair the relationship for the child's sake and for the family's sake and for their love. But to be in your 50s and have to possibly go back on the market at this stage of the game, I'm not saying, she can't do it, but I'm just saying, who wants to go through all of that? But in the end, this is what happens to us brothers when we make a lot of money and you're doing all of this stuff. I don't know if there's an old saying, the more money you make, the more it changes you. It is no different than being in a group and you're the lead singer. Nobody come to see you, Otis. You know what I mean? David Ruffin wants to go solo. Melvin Riley from Ready for the World, he wants to go solo. All these guys want to go solo. Lionel Richie's a good example. He's one of the very few that became very successful when he went solo. It's very hard to go solo when you come out of a group. But it's the same thing. Once, you get that success, money changes people. So, maybe he thought because the other guys and the other coaches were getting away with it. Because when I was in an organization in the military, I'm telling you, as a pilot, we have girlfriends here, we have girlfriends there. And I mean, it's no secret. We're one of the biggest groups of people that have mass divorce in our profession. It just happens because we're on the road a lot and doing all of that. And there are perks with having those wings. So all my military guys that are listening to this, you guys know what I'm talking about. Certain career fields, there are certain perks. I mean, you got Marines, because of their dress uniform, get women. So here's this guy. He's an NBA coach. He's at the Boston Celtics. The number 2 franchise in the NBA. And there's perks that come with that job. And it's unfortunate that he wasn't strong enough to not resist and put his job at risk. I mean, there's no way I would put that kind of money at risk for some P. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's also speculated that since I guess training camp is going to start in 2 weeks, that somebody in the organization may have wanted him gone. Speculation, of course. So there's a whole lot going on there. But in regards to a very long engagement, yeah, I don't get the long engagement, but there's a lot of people because you say women, why do you put up with that? And I totally agree. By after a year or two, if y'all not talking about, wedding plans, whatever, maybe it was her on her. Maybe, she knows something we don't. I don't know. But let's say it was on his end. After, a year or two, there's no planning or you don't have a date. Yeah, more than likely he's wasting your time, or she. I don't want to just put it on the man. But more than likely, your time is being wasted. More than likely, they're entertaining somebody else, or maybe they got cold feet. There's a lot going on. So that's when it's up to you, whether you're the man or the woman in the situation, to say, okay, I honestly think enough of my time has been wasted and I don't want to do this no more. Because also you don't want to be on the end of giving somebody an ultimatum. Well, you need to marry me. If you don't marry me, I'm out of here. Because they say they marry you, then y'all get married, and then it's like, well, I didn't even really want to do it. I know I, proposed to you, or I said I would marry you, but you kind of, twisted my arm, and here we are. So I just feel like, yeah, if you're in a super long engagement and somebody don't want to
I don't think it's going to happen. If you're in a super long engagement and you haven't even gone to, you can go to the court and do it secretly if you wanted to do that without having the big, wedding. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm serious. If if you meet somebody and you've been engaged for at least 2 years, it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and people postpone or push back or whatever, for whatever reason. But I just think it comes down to you being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, this person ain't trying to marry me. Because what happens is, and let's say, like in Nia's Long situation, of course, we're speculating because we don't know what their deal was. But damn, 12 years, you done gave this man. You've been engaged since 2000, roughly, I guess, 10, maybe 11, I don't know. But you done gave this man, let's say it's on his end, because it could be her. Maybe she's like, I don't know if I really want to do it,
But I'll give you a baby.
Well, whatever, let's, at some point, because you were at that point, I'm gonna say a good years are being wasted, but all the years are good. So no matter what years they are.
Yeah, but a woman's on the clock. That's no doubt about it.
On the clock too.
Well, we're talking about if having more babies and stuff biologically, certain things you're supposed to do.
But I get it. We can't. What we're not gonna do is we're not gonna keep deducing a woman down to just her reproductive system.
No. But I'm just saying you guys get censored.
I get it, but there's a lot more to a woman because whether I have a baby with you or not, my time is valuable. And I'm speaking from a woman's point of view. I know men get their time wasted too. I'm not saying that as y'all. There's a lot of men who have proposed to a woman and she ain't shit either. So because I know a lot of times y'all try to accuse me of going hard on the manosphere is not what I intended to do. But I'm thinking from a woman's point of view, I think we should stop deducing a woman down to just her womb, right? Because you're wasting my time. Let's say I never have a baby with you. Maybe we don't want to have no kids, okay? You're wasting my time and a whole lot of other things I could have gotten to a lot sooner without you, parking yourself in my life with no intentions on making this official, right? And so I just think that if you're in that situation, I think you just have to, because the truth is sometimes brutally honest. And a lot of times people don't ask those questions and say, you know what, let me ask this person, are you intending on marrying me? Like, what's the deal here? We don't want to ask those things because we're afraid that we're going to get the answer that we already know. We're afraid that we're going to get confirmation to what our gut has already confirmed. And so what we do, unfortunately, is we sit in there and say, okay, if I just maybe don't ask, maybe one day it'll happen, or I'll just go through life in this relationship pretending that there's nothing wrong and everything is great. But it's like, nah, sis, bruh, ask that person, what are your intentions? You got on one knee, you asked me if you wanted to do this, and here we are years later, and I'm asking you what the deal is, and you're saying, well, there's no deal, you just want to push back, or this, that, and the other. But the whole time, you may be entertaining somebody else, or for whatever reason, you just don't want to do it. And so get it over with up front. Don't give a motherfucker, excuse my French, woo!
I think we hit a trigger. Go ahead, though. Keep going.
Don't give a person your time to waste it, okay? Because a person will waste your time if you allow them to, because they may be comfortable in thinking he or she is not going to go nowhere. They're okay with me wasting their time. They're okay with me stringing them along. And then you get to the point to where, I don't know their situation, but let's just speculate, they embarrass you. Because that is embarrassing. To have somebody, and my heart goes out to Nia Long. It really does, because I watched her cheer for him. She was so excited. Her man was, heading a team, and she's so excited. And then now she's got to deal with people even like us having a conversation about a relationship. Maybe they was gonna work it out. I don't know, maybe they still will. But now, if she does, she's got to have people say, "Oh, she's stupid. I should wouldn't be me." When they done took their man back 15 times already, but yet they want to put her relationship on. So there's a lot to deal with when you've been cheated on in a public eye like that. You know what I mean? Then, Donovan, before you get to it, maybe you can address this. Then there's the other part. Well, what does she do? Because you kind of alluded to saying somebody, I don't know, maybe she wasn't giving it to him or whatever the case is. So then there's that part of what does she do?
Right. Or, I like to speculate just like you, and looking at it, how do we know they didn't have an open relationship? That's why she hasn't made a statement yet. See what I'm saying? Maybe it's no big deal to her. Like, yeah, he could go do him, and I'm doing me, and life is good. We have no clue what's going on. But they do have a child together. So I always do wish when parents, I don't care if you're married or not married, you look at your actions and think of the child and how that would affect the child in regards to what you're doing out there in the world. But let's talk about what maybe she did or didn't do. Right? It's speculating. Certain women get to a certain age, and let's face it, and let's just be real, Demetra. I know you're not going to agree with me, but men are simplistic in their thought patterns. We want the box. Okay. We're very especially if your woman is very attractive and she's very nice looking. And, and I'm gonna tell you when a dude is with a woman like Nia Long, like yourself, and, if we're walking and nobody's looking at you, Demetra, what the hell am I doing with you? What the hell am I doing with you? Men want women that other men want. So and like I said, being a mom is a full-time job. It's a lifetime job. I hate when they say full-time job. It's a lifetime job, being a mom. So we know it's not easy. You're holding down the house. Well, at least they used to do that. They're holding down the house. They used to, there's a lot of things to it. So maybe Nia's tired. She's got her career. She's doing, she's juggling a lot of stuff. And she's, she doesn't want to do like she did when she was, 10 years ago, when she thought this big old African mandingo was there. And, it's all, life, as we know, gets to both of us, right? You're doing your thing with your career. I'm doing my career. So we're not jiving like we used to when we had all that time because we're both unemployed, trying to find our way, going through college or whatever, right? So, speculating, she's not doing what she used to do. Or remember when you're dating, for you guys that might be listening, and you come home for a nooner, that ain't happening no more because life is, putting it in there or whatever. And so that leads a man sometimes to stray. And I'm not saying it's an excuse to do so, but men, we are physical and visual creatures. And that's our nature of why we do some of the dumb shit that we do. It's just factual.
I mean, I will say that I've never cheated on anyone. Listen, I ain't got the line to kick it, okay? I've never cheated on
Kylan
anyone.
is over here still mad that you're gone, but go ahead.
Your cat will be okay. I've never cheated on anyone simply because I've been cheated on, and that shit hurts. That, like, being cheated on is like experiencing a death, right? And I think everybody on the planet to some degree has been cheated on, okay? It's like somebody calling you and saying your loved one, your spouse or whoever it is, has been killed in a car accident. And I use a car accident as the example because it's so sudden. When you find out that, because you might have some inklings like, something ain't right. But when you find out that's what it is. It's just like the impact is so horrific. It's like everything you've known about that person, your relationship, has just been ripped apart. And now, depending on if you come to a decision or not as to what you want to do, I don't know, maybe that person don't want to be with you no more, And so you have to come to terms with, okay, this person I was just with, and I knew he was with me and I was with him just a minute ago, it's not what it is anymore. Now I know that he or she has been sharing themselves with somebody else. They've been spending time. They've been booed up. They've been all of that. And so it's like a death, and then comes the mourning process, okay? Even if you decide to stay with that person, you are mourning what you thought you had. And so that's why I said I've never done it, because I know what it feels like to have somebody do that to you. And all the times that I've been cheated on, they've been remorseful like after. But while they were doing it, it was almost like, so what, B? You get over it. I've heard, quote, whoopee the F, do. You'll be fine. I've heard, pick up the pieces. Oh, so what? People move on. People grow. I've heard those things. And so it's like, I'm responsible for how I feel. But it's like that show is a cold way to do somebody who really loved you and cared for you and all that. So that's why I said it's like it's like a death. Like you have this funeral of the person you love, because now, depending on where you were in your relationship, let's say you thought everything was all right. It's like, damn, I can't even love this person no more. I'm supposed to automatically stop loving this person. It's a lot to go through. So that's why me personally, other than I'm a good person, I just think if I don't want to be with you no more, I think we should be grown enough to say, you know what? The ship has sailed. You know, we ain't gonna make it. Neither one of us wants to be the first to say, you know what I mean? Whatever. But to hurt somebody to that degree, I never want to be on that end of doing that to somebody. Never.
Well, I agree with you. You believe it or not, I've never cheated on somebody in my relationship at all myself, right?
I believe you. I want to say I believe you because I think, and not to cut you off, because we get under the impression that all men cheat.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that all men don't cheat. I think, just like I don't think all women are faithful, right? I think,
right.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you, and I've known you for years and years and years, over 30 years. I don't know you to be a horrible person. And in my opinion, when you cheat, I think that at least at that time you were a horrible person. So I don't know you to be a horrible person, even though you get on my nerves sometimes.
Right. Exactly. It's a relationship. But no, in all my relationships, I've never did that, because if I'm going to settle, I'm a brutally honest person, and I don't understand why people just can't be honest in their intention. Okay. So it's just like example with me and your sister. I'm serious about, look, just give me one shot and I'm good, right? My intentions are out there. There's no doubt about it. Is it ever going to happen? Probably not. But my intentions are out there, and I'm not deviating from that, right? So when I was in relationships, and I was raised, you got these beautiful women out here. I mean, the sisters are beautiful. I mean, there's just so many of you guys. I mean, God, it's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, but you're all beautiful and you all taste good and you all look good and stuff like that, right? And that's the way I look at Black women. I really do. I look at Black women like, man. But I also know no matter how bad this chick is, there's going to be a younger, stronger, better one that's going to come along, and they just keep coming and they just keep coming. So it would be madness to sit there at 50-something years old, and I just came back from the DR, and I'm telling you, them dudes, Demetra, you were there, they were cutting up. And it's ridiculous that you're going to go there at 60-something years old talking about, oh, I'm going to get this young girl. And, you had said something a couple of days ago when I initially came back, or before I just came back, and you were saying something in regards to these younger girls. These guys get these younger girls and then complain about them. You're getting what you're getting, and it makes sense. They want their nails done. They want their hair done. They're going to wear weaves. They're going to do all these things that young girls do. But here I am, a 56-year-old man, complaining about it. Doesn't make any sense. And this is why my narrative now is, ladies, and I'm sorry you guys don't want to hear this, but the truth is this: if you're in your 60s and you're a single woman, Black, white, whatever, you're a single woman, and you're looking for a man, because I'd be watching these dating shows and stuff like that, and there was a 6-year-old woman on the show, and she was like, I'm looking for this, he got to make 6 figures, whatever the deal is. Let me tell you something, old lady. If I'm making 6 figures and I'm 60 years old myself, I'm not checking for you. I'm checking for a younger girl. It's just, that's just the nature of the beast. That's how it's going to be, right? You got to be realistic in what you're doing. So back to what I was saying about me dating women, I date with intention. So once I get the girl, and and thank God, the women that I got is exactly what I got, because the one woman, my first adult real relationship, put me on the path to education, to where now I have 12 degrees and I still have that woman's picture up in my family portrait picture thing, because people say, why do you still got your ex-girlfriend's picture up? Because that woman was influential in my life. She brought something to my life. I got something out of the relationship other than, the relationship of being boyfriend and girlfriend and stuff like that. It didn't work out. I wanted to marry her, but that wasn't her intention. We did our separate ways. So I date with intention, and I'm just going to tell you, it's my motto now is to tell these young girls to do not make the same mistakes as women in my era have, or my parents' era has. Go out there and find you somebody and be happy. Now, a lot of these young girls keep saying that this BS about, well, there ain't no good men out there. Yes, there was. The guy that was working at McDonald's, he was a good guy. The guy that was driving the bus, he was a good guy. The guy that was at the airport throwing bags on the thing, he was a good guy. You didn't want that guy. So stop saying that narrative. But the one thing I do not want you guys to do is to grow old by yourselves, because it is not what human beings are supposed to do. Because as I get older, I'm getting injured, I'm getting hurt, and I have nobody to depend on in regards to, my health. Not just the health thing. When I was in the DR, I went and got therapy. I self-diagnosed myself because I have a degree in behavioral and social science. And my situation is I'm in a depression, not based on loneliness, and not loneliness of physical. I can get the physical, the loneliness of companionship and stuff like that. Do I got a dog? Yes. Do I got a cat? Yes. But what I'm trying to do is, I'm not saying it's too late for me, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to tell you guys, and I think a lot of women, older women, need to start correcting these younger girls and saying, don't follow this path. Nia Long spent 12 years with this man. I hope they can repair the relationship if the relationship needs repairing. But at 53 years old, Nia Long, let's say it doesn't work out and they do separate their ways. But Nia Long is Nia Long, so I don't think she's going to have a problem finding a man, unlike Vivica Fox. Okay? But this is what I'm saying. Ladies, when you get older like this, it is very hard to find that person. I have friends that have been married for over 30, 40 years because they said, I'm in love with that person, and they made it work. And I'm sure they went through ups and downs and downs and ups. But young ladies, please do not fall into that BS and find your relationship and make it work. Stop giving these men babies that aren't willing to marry you, and putting that cart before the horse and all that other stuff. If you're going to live a single life and have a successful career and do that, then fine, go ahead and do that. But stop sabotaging yourself by giving these men babies and then having to be stuck with this man for the rest of your damn life.
Yeah, and you said a word with date with intention, right? A lot of people don't date with intention, and we should, right? And I've said this, and I can proudly say this, that I've never slept with a man that was not my man, and I'm not shading anybody who does that. I'm speaking for Demetra, okay? I ain't speaking about nobody else. I'm speaking about myself, that I was never the type of woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that, okay? It's a personal thing. I was never that type of woman that's going to lay down with a man that I wasn't attached to, whether he was my boyfriend, a fiance, or a husband that I had for 10 months, okay? So I'm just saying, we do have to get clear that we date people with intentions, because we also know that a lot of times when you get physical with a person, some people are like, well, shoot, we done did it. You my man or you my woman. And that ain't always the case, because the other party may not see it that way. They just be like, listen, boo, we just did what we did for 2 minutes, and now I'm going to go back to my life. I'm saying, come on now. I'm going to go back to my life and do my thing, and then somebody else is holding feelings. And so I was just never the one to do that. So I think that people should date with intentions. All right. We've been, dating for a while, because I know in the Nation of Islam, they have a courting process. You take in the relationship to court. And in fact, in a lot of cases, if not all the cases, they don't even allow people to date without a chaperone. You bring a chaperone from the woman's side, and the man brings a chaperone. So that way y'all don't end up, from the movie or the dinner at the, Snooty Fox or nothing like that. That's a seedy hotel in Los Angeles, y'all. So you don't end up at the Snooty Fox. That y'all make sure that you guys are talking about whatever, but you're also taking it to court and seeing if I want to continue dating you before we go get in the bed. Because once you get in the bed, it's just automatic. Your feelings change. It changes from you being rational and saying, I am betting him or I'm betting her, to, well, damn, we done got these little emotions going. And so now my judgment is clouded. So yes, date with intention. All right, I like you, you like me. Where are we going from this point? Because I'm going to tell you, don't let the age of men or women fool you in thinking, okay, shoot, he 50 now, or she in her 50s, she gonna settle down. Hell, there's dudes out there and women in their 70s and 80s. They still getting that thing around like they was 20. So don't let age fool you. Be upfront, because you do not want to have your time wasted. I like you. What's your intentions with me? Do you see a future with me? Well, all right, Negro, you done started too long. See, this is age and wisdom speaking now, because I was that person in a lot of my relationships, silly and letting a person waste my time instead of saying, all right, let me just get it all out in the open. What is your intentions with me? If it's not, you don't see a future with me getting married or whatever, then fine, let's just end it, right? And the other thing, I like that you said, because I've seen the picture of LaDonna in your house, and you pay homage to her because you've told me plenty of times that she elevated you. That while y'all was dating, you was, in the service and stuff, but she was like, nah, I'm not going to hang out with somebody who just hanging out. I need you to go get your education, and I need you to do this. I need you to be a man about something to do. And so she I don't say she made you the man you are, but she helped you get that way. She told you, I want more from you, because if y'all didn't, but if we stay together, I'm gonna need my man to be able to do something. I need him to know something. So, it's always good to be with somebody who can say, I love you and I want to see more from you, and I'm gonna help you do that, right? Because that's the true definition of love, to want to see somebody do better. And then you said too, as far as good men and women, because you say men or women will say there's no good men out there, and men say the same thing, there's no good woman. But like you said, ask yourself, whoever's saying, whether it's the man or the woman, how many men or women did you blow by or blow through, break their hearts, or you ain't got the job, that job. How many people did you do that to? And then, but it was a good person. Maybe he was never going to cheat on you. Maybe he was going to come home every night. Maybe he was going to love you. He was going to worship you and all of that. But because he didn't have the right title as far as job in front of his name, you blew him off. Because I told people, and I said this the other day to somebody, a man can have all his stuff together, or a woman have all the money in the world, and he or she not be shit. So you trading material things for somebody who may not be a good person. It looks like Donovan froze up there a little bit. So if he kicks out, I'll bring him back in. And so a lot of times we really just don't ask the right questions. We get our judgment clouded with, oh, he's cute, or she's cute, or whatever the case is. And then we end up getting, and I say suckered, and I say this lightly, we get suckered into a relationship. Oh, there you go. I thought you was going to kick out a little bit. We get suckered into a relationship because, like Donovan said, maybe you even got a baby now, and he ain't no damn good. He turned out to be, you thought he was a Denzel, but he ended up being a Ray Ray and a Pookie. But you didn't know that because you gave him the goods, or whatever the case is. And so, yeah, I love it. Now, you said it perfectly. Date with an intention. Date with somebody who's going to help you elevate, and you can do the same for them. And stop blowing through good men and women because they don't dress the same. They ain't got the swag.
Yeah, swag. He ain't got swag. And here's the funny thing about these, when I hear these young girls, and I love listening to young girls because it's funny to me, because I know we were all there too at one time. So I let them have their thing. It's a different world now. But you hear these young girls complaining about, these guys ain't got this and he ain't got swag or whatever, right? And I always tell them this. I said, it's kind of like a pimp. We always think of pimp because of the way he dresses and stuff like that. He's a clown. But those are like glittery tools. Like when you're fishing and your bait kind of shines and it gets the fish to automatically come to the bait and want to bite it. I said, that's the same thing. I said, most of those guys that have the swag are usually the guys that ain't about nothing. It's just a matter of time before they go to jail because they don't really have a real job. And then, you're mad about that because, you thought it was all good until he went to jail. Now the money's not coming in. And now he's asking you versus the child that you both have to put money on his books rather than put diapers on his child's ass. You see what I'm saying? And they keep making these mistakes generation after generation after generation. And I blame our generation and younger generations for not correcting what is going on within our community. I'm not saying, not to love who you want to love, but why are you having babies with Ray Ray and Pookie who have 7, 8 kids that they're not taking care of? But these girls keep falling for this stuff, and then they become bitter, and then they pass that bitterness off onto their children. Sons and daughters both get it, because let's face it. I just read a statistic last night, and I should have brought it. I'm going to look it up again, and I'm going to send it to you to get your thoughts on it. Do you know that children brought up in a single father home in most cases is no different than a child brought up in a 2-parent home? It's almost like, almost no different. But there's a significant difference in the way a child is brought up in a single mother's home. And I'm gonna send you that statistic, because when I was looking at it, I was like, what? This doesn't make sense. But it kind of does. I'm not saying men are better than women. What I'm saying is women being more emotional and more, let's say, and you see this a lot, when the relationship doesn't work out, the woman is very, very bitter. And she sometimes, in some situations, she takes that bitterness out on the kids. You look like your ugly ass daddy. You know what I mean? And it affects the child. And then the child grows up, and then that aggressiveness continues, especially, and you can see it in the daughters when the fathers are not in the homes. The daughters have an aggressive thing in regards to men, and they're very cautious. And a lot of these young girls are turned off because when you ask them, well, why don't you want to get married? They really don't know. They really don't know. And like I said, Nia Long, being in a relationship for 12 years, you're acting like you're married. You're basically being married. Why not just get married? There's benefits to being married.
Yeah, and you talk about people who get with people who have kids and stuff, and all over the place. I would just say, word to the wise is, if he didn't marry those baby mamas, he probably not gonna marry you either. If he didn't stick around and take care of those kids, he probably not gonna stick around and take care of your kids. I mean, he's got to or she, it's a proven track record of what they're gonna do, and so that's why it's good to know. You get the facts, right? If you buy a used car, you're gonna get what? The car facts. You're gonna go to, Kelly's Blue Book or whatever. You're gonna figure out what is going on with this car. And the same thing is true for a human. You need to figure out, well, what have you been up to? What's your track record? They do tell, because if I'm gonna build a life with you, yeah, I want to know if you're responsible with money. Yeah, I want to know how many hearts you done broke in the past and how many kids you got you ain't taking care of. Yeah, I want to know if you know how to keep a job. Yeah, I want to know if you got a good credit. Can we buy something together? Bubble gum, something, But unfortunately, people, even older people, we get in these relationships with people. We're like, ooh, child, need to know all that. All I know is he talks good, he walks good, he smells good. He say he gonna do all of it. Okay, that's cute. But if we gonna build something together, I want to know that he at least got a hammer, and I do mean that in many ways. I want to know that he's got a hammer and some nails to bring to the building process, just like he's gonna want to know that from me. Can I bring some, plywood, or what can I bring to the building process? And so it's just, I get it. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to have a conversation like that with somebody you really like, but if y'all gonna make it, you need to know. What you need to know about that person. Now, of course, you would never know, because I would say all the times that I've been cheated on, I didn't expect for them to do that. Because I know a lot of times, I even had a conversation with my friend today. He was like, well, a lot of times people, they don't ask the right question. I said, listen, let me tell you something. Man or woman, nobody gets in a relationship with somebody and say, I know they ain't gonna cheat on me. Now, I know, but then some people might, maybe they just, I don't know. But they don't say, I know they gonna cheat on me. But you know what? Whatever. You think, okay, they saying the right things. Girl, I love you, my word. I'm a man of God. I would never break your heart. Because trust me, I done heard it all. I done heard it all. That's why I said if a man come to you talking about, I'm just looking for a God-fearing woman, run the other way. That's a lie. Okay, he ain't looking, because he the demon and devil is damn self. But nobody goes into a relationship thinking that they're going to have their heart broken. And I tell y'all this all the time, and maybe I didn't, but the last time I had my heart stomped on like by a 20,000-pound elephant, like, I was so bad physically, you know, to where my kidneys was starting to shut down because my blood pressure was up. I was just going through it, right? Like I was sometimes I would cry and I would be convulsing. Y'all never saw that. Y'all saw it one time, but y'all never saw that. The physicality that comes along with having that happen to you. You know what I mean? And so it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Well, let me ask you this, Steve, in regards to that relationship and some of the relationships you've been in. There's one thing that we do know in all those relationships. You're the common denominator. So what is it that you think that you're lacking, that these men just take your heart, rip it out of your chest, throw it against the wall, and kick it down the street?
Honestly, I think that I don't know, because maybe it's me, maybe it's Maybelline, I don't know, but if I had to Monday morning quarterback all my relationships, I would say, listen, I'm going to say this, and y'all, because I know this, we hear a lot of people say, oh, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. I'll give you the number to every last man I was with, and they'll tell y'all. It was, she didn't do anything to deserve what I did to her. I mean, I really didn't. Even my daughter's father, he told my daughter a couple years back, your mom was the sweetest person I've ever known, and she did not deserve what I did to her, and so. Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's like, when you're young like that, it's them just men's greed? Because remember I told you there's a lot of beautiful women out there. So you see, I got you, but then I see another girl and I'm thinking, well, maybe let me see if I can, just go over here real quick. And, do you think it's the greed of men to want to?
I think that's a lot to do with it. I think the problem that I always had with being cheated on, and listen, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but, I come from good women. And I know how to treat a man, type of thing. I am in my 20s.
And that is rare. There's not that many good women that come of that stock anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and in my 20s, of course, as a learning curve, I had to rah-rah, and I had to learn how to be in a relationship with men, type of thing. But I was not ever the type of woman, and you don't tell me what to do. I got one daddy, and I never talked to men like that. It was always, yes, honey, okay, that kind of thing. But I would say that, yeah, it's greed. And the problem that I really had with being cheated on, even more so than the being cheated on itself, was how cold I was done. Almost like being thrown away. Like I was the worst person in the world. Now, of course, I know not to take that personally, but it sucks nevertheless to know that you were in a relationship with somebody that meant so much to you, and you thought you meant something to them, and then they're like, I'm done with you. Just go away. You know what I mean? Just like that was to me like the worst. Like, golly, you are God. And almost like I can't even believe I was with somebody who was so cold. Like I'm sleeping next to somebody
cold and callous.
Yeah, like you wouldn't even treat somebody who was bad to you that way. But a person that was good to you, you have that much vitriol for them. And so I would say in my situation, I don't want to say I was too nice, because I don't think there's such a thing, because I'm a good person.
Do you think maybe you came off as like naive in regards to like street and stuff like that? Because like when you're dealing with a Chicago guy, they have a Chicago way of doing things. You know what I'm talking about? Or a New Orleans guy.
There's a lot of people I won't date no more. It's first time in Chicago.
Okay, right? Gotcha.
And I love y'all Chicago people, but y'all men are treacherous.
Yeah,
I would say for me personally, I'm a really kind, giving, loving person.
And some people who come from areas like Chicago look at that as prey.
Yeah, and I think a lot of men look at it that way too, and I find that a lot of men that I've dated, they get with the women that are just cruel.
Toxic.
Love her dirty draws. And so I'm like, is that how I need to be in order to keep a man? Then the other part of me is like, well, I would probably rather be by myself, because I don't want nobody or anything I've been through to change me, because I love people. I'm just one of those people. I love humans. I love that be of service. I enjoy doing that. But unfortunately, we as humans, and not just me, we get around other people or with other people who don't have good intentions for you. And a lot of times too, I would say people, men and women, they move on with other people and they feel like, I've got the prize. because I really got the woman or man I want to be with. So I'm going to be horrible to the person I was with. But I would say in every situation that has not been kind to me, that situation that they moved on to did not work out. And guess what? We can always be friends or whatever because I was still kind. You know, I was like, I didn't change, you did. I'm gonna be a kind person regardless. And so I don't know. I would say just for me, I am a good woman, and I can say that proudly because I know a lot of times people will say, well, damn, if you're such a good woman, why you ain't got no man? Well, hell, I'm trying, you know. But because I'm a good woman and I'm in a good place, I'm happy, I sleep well at night and all of that, I want to stay that way, you know. Right. And I know a lot of people say, well, sometimes you're going to have to get back out there and maybe risk getting your heart broken again. Not this girl. Whatever man that's going to be, he going to have to come correct. And I'm not even talking about having a bunch of money. I just need to know that, of course, nothing's guaranteed, that whatever turned your eye or whatever's going on, I need to know you ain't going to do that again. I need
but Demetra, guys won't be able to see that if you stay in the house all the goddamn day.
Listen, boo. I go outside all the time, but trust me, they see me. Wherever I go, I got a, brother, hey, how you doing? I'm doing well. Well, I just want to let you know you looking good. Oh, thank you. I like Donovan. You see me out public. I'm not mean to men. I'm nice. I'm all of that.
Your fist ain't bald. You ain't got that scowl on your face, right?
I'm nice, So trust me, they see me. I see them. But right now, I'm in a good spot right now. And I just don't. I think another heartbreak would kill me, honestly. And I'm not even trying to say that.
Mm-hmm. No, I trust me. I know. I'm by myself too, so I know the feeling.
I think another one would really do me in. Like I said, physically speaking, the last time, man, my doctor was like, "You are all over the place." My blood.
You love hard. You love hard.
It really was. It felt like I got hit by a fire truck. That's how bad it felt.
Well, and again, you're kind of date with intention as well. So it's kind of like
I try. I try to date with intention. But unfortunately, I would say as a woman, and maybe you have the same, critique for women. I have a problem because you said it perfectly. There's people who've been together and they've weathered some storms. Like you said, you got friends been together 30, 40 years. They've weathered some storms, but it's like, for me, to have been cheated on, I kind of feel like insulted in a way that you think you were the only one that saw somebody that looked better than me? You think that I was just in the house and I didn't see good-looking dudes or good-looking dudes that come up to me, or I had an opportunity to trick off? You think I didn't have that opportunity? You know why I didn't seize that opportunity? Because I saw only you. I didn't even give it, because I feel like this. I feel like everybody has somebody trying to get with them, and don't nobody want you until you got somebody. Let's keep it real. When you ain't got nobody, like who, I guess. But when you get somebody, everybody want to get with you. But I say this, when you open the door for that, hey, big head, how you doing? I've been seeing you on Facebook. Ooh, I love your post. Oh, you so cute. And you start saying, oh, well, thank you. Then you're going to start saying some other stuff. Then you're going to start getting in it, because I don't care what nobody say. Some people think that flirting is not cheating. Flirting is cheating. An emotional relationship is just as bad as a physical relationship. It's cheating. And so I want to be with somebody who knows the difference. I don't want to be with somebody who will tell me, oh, I'm a flirt. That's just what I do. And if you don't like it, well, then don't do that. But you can't be with me and talk about I like the flirt, because when you tell me you like the flirt, that also tells me that you are entertaining other women, and I should be the apple of your eye, boo-boo, just like you the apple of mine. So I said, when people come to me, whether it's in an inbox or it's on the street or whatever, how you doing? And if it's in the inbox, if I'm in a relationship, I'm not gonna respond. Let me tell you something. I had somebody yesterday, I'm single. I had somebody yesterday in my inbox. I don't see the secret inbox, but they said something in the comment, hey, Demetra K, check your inbox. So I did. And they said something so horribly disgusting to me. Something they wanted to do to me. And I was like,
And that was supposed to turn you on or something, or. Mm-hmm.
But I don't respond to that kind of stuff, especially if I got somebody. Listen, you know how they put the little blinders on horses?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see to the right, you don't see to the left. I only see you, honey. Because I know that if you give somebody an opportunity and you start, how you doing? You might start feeling something for that person. And then what happens? Your attention gets taken away from that person.
Right. And then next thing you know, you're calling somebody else's name in a fit moment of passion. But for those brothers out there,
that's why y'all men always call everybody baby.
Yeah, exactly. You can't keep the name straight. But for those the guys that want to impress Demetra K, if you run across her and meet her, yeah, the generic thing is great to start off with, whatever. But all that baby stuff that isn't going to impress her. The first thing that you need to do, if you're asking me, somebody who's known her for a long time, is say, there's this great book I read. You will get her attention immediately, because she's looking at, she's more of an intellectual type person. So when you start talking about certain books and things that, hey, I read this book and I thought it was really good. What do you think about this book? Have you read it? There's your intro right there to Demetra K. From that point on, brothers, you're on your own. I don't want to give the whole secret out. But before we go real quick, as we're getting into it, Nia Long's first major movie role. Do you know what movie that was?
Was it Friday?
No. Starred Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, what was that? It wasn't Burglar. It wasn't Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Mm-mm.
It's the one where she was her Whoopi's daughter, and that was her dad.
Right. Ted Danson was the dad. Made in America.
Made in America. Okay.
Made in America. Got it. Okay. And then wait, there's another one here I wanted to ask you about. Who was Nia Long before she even started getting into acting? Who was her acting coach?
Oh shit! I don't know all of that.
Oh my gosh! How could you not? That's part of Black trivia, especially who?
Debbie Allen?
No. Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Okay, that could have been. That could have been anybody.
Todd Bridges' mom.
Well, how the hell was I supposed to know?
Yeah. She was a known acting coach. As a matter of fact, she also helped Janet Jackson kind of, to tweak them and stuff like that. But Nia Long got a substantial acting lessons from Todd Bridges' mom. So there's a lot of connection with Nia Long in the industry. A lot of people don't know this. She was a child actress.
And isn't she have some more?
Yes. Oh, some more. Oh, that woman is so fine. Oh, some more. Call me if you're watching the show. So yeah, half sisters with some more. I mean, there's a lot of connections in the entertainment industry, so I can see why people would like to get into it. Again, I hope that this incident with Nia doesn't really break her spirit in regards to, like you said, I did saw those pictures. She's cheering out there, supporting what her man does, and for the brother, sorry you got caught or whatever the situation is. But when you have something good, and like I said, I don't know the extent of your relationship. Sometimes having that great job is not more important than having that good woman that's going to stand beside you. There's other jobs you could probably get.
And I want to say this, because I think a lot of times too, that people think that when somebody is unfaithful to you, that it should be over. I think it's whatever you want to do, whatever you choose to do. If that person, and I don't even believe a person should have to jump through hoops of fire. You need to prove you love me. You need to jump off the roof and then jump into the pool. Listen, if you want to take a person back, I think that really should be up to you. I don't think that it's most things are. I don't think most things are unsalvageable. I just think that people have to come back to the table with a different understanding of. I guess what I'm saying is, don't come back or want to come back if you're not going to treat that person with the love, loyalty, and respect that they deserve. Especially because, like you said, there's a lot of good people being messed over simply for being good people who love people. You know what I mean? And so I'm not never one to tell a person you shouldn't take a person back. I'm never one to do that, because people change, people learn, whatever, But my heart does go out to Nia because I've been in that situation. I've been in a situation where you were that person's biggest support, cheerleader. You could do. I've been there, and then to have somebody embarrass you to that degree, it's very hard. So I would just say, if they stay together, because I don't really, we got enough Black couples really just going through it. Nothing is unsalvageable for the most part. I hope that he comes back career wise. I don't think he should lose a job because people do that kind of stuff. Whatever, it's a mistake. I don't know what it was. I hope he does well in his career, and I hope that if he and Nia do stay together, if let's say it's his decision, I hope that he does make her an honest woman. Maybe they marry. I don't know. Nothing is impossible. I will say that nothing is impossible, and I'm not a super religious person, but I do believe in God, and I will say this. That one of the good things in what I've gone through recently in the breakup that I had is that it did bring me closer to God. Because a lot of times I spent sometimes on my knees, asking why, what did I do to deserve this? Am I really just a bad person? Like, was I a cricket or a roach in my past life? Like, what, you know what I mean? And so I would say that it did bring me back to God, because sometimes, and now y'all hear me when I'm about to say a word, okay? Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you get with a person, you make them your God.
True. Put them on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to make people our gods. We are supposed to love people. But when we make other people our gods, we forget about God and we forget about ourselves, because we are a God too. And we put that person as a deity, and it hurts so bad when they are human and do human things, is because we put them in the place of God, and we in some cases worship them instead of saying, you know what, I love that person. I love them with all my heart, but I'm not going to put them above me, and I'm not going to put them above God. And so I will say in myself, the learning experience was, it did bring me back to God and say, hey, he said you forgot about me, know, and I want you to pay reverence to me. You forget about me, then things will go bad, Bring me back into the fold, and all things are possible. And I will say this: my life has been, I did not miss a beat, getting out of that relationship. My life has gone up. I've done better things and is doing better things. And that's because I think God was really trying to remind me, don't forget about yourself. Mm-hmm. I put you in, and I've been reminded a lot by God in my life. I didn't just put you here to just do this. I put you here to make a difference. I put you here to use these talents. And if you cannot do both, if you cannot be in a relationship and remember yourself and go do the things I put you on the earth to do, then I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back out of that so that you can remember what your purpose is. Your purpose is to be in a loving relationship, but your purpose is also to do other things that I've called you to do. So I would say,
amen. Amen. And I'm saying this to the young ladies, especially specifically the young Black ladies. You do not have to put your career ahead of family and successful relationships. You can do them all together. All the other groups are doing them together. If you wait until you're 40, talk about, okay, I got my PhD now, all this debt, I'm ready to have a relationship. It's already passed you by. Nobody wants to deal with that. You've got, too many issues, and that's what's happening within our community. Well, what are those Jamaican racers and stuff like that? And you got all these people that have, they're successful in what they do as top athletes. They also got married in their 20s. And now a lot of them have retired already. So don't sit there and tell me that I have to put my career first. You can do it all in one setting, in one piece. Do not listen to these older women who are bitter and want you to be as bitter as them. You're young, you're strong, you can have your babies, you can have your career, you can have your man. Ladies, you can have it all if that's what you really want to do. Do not listen to these bitter broads that are up here that want you to fail and be miserable just like them. You can have it all and do it all in the same thing, and do it together with somebody that's going to love you and treat you the way you want to be treated.
And I will say this, since you're giving advice to the ladies, fellas, stop listening to these old dudes out there who ain't never been married to nobody, will never marry anybody. Tell y'all, I don't get married. Oh, be with as many women as possible. Stop listening to those men because, we are meant to be with somebody. And like Donovan said, we're not meant to die by ourselves. And, just in closing, I'm going to say this. There's a popular pastor. I'll say his name. That is
not the one that just beat up the chick at the thing. Okay. Matthews. Oh, yeah, he's a good one.
That is Matthews. Y'all know the cursing pastor. I doubt he watches. If he does, maybe he'll listen to this. He, over the last couple of months, have a lot of health ailments. He's 65 now, right? His wife is 47 years old, and he's very open and public about it. He's written a book and everything about how for a while he was living with two women, or not living with two women, was messing with two women for 6 years, and his wife was one of them. So he finally had to make a decision, and the other woman that he was messing with, they got together on the live, and because he had announced that he was getting married. So I guess everybody was reaching out to her like, oh my God, I thought y'all was together. And so he had her sit up there, which was horrible to me, had her sit up there with him and say, oh, I'm good. After he done said that he'd been with two women, messing them around. So moving fast forward, after he's married the younger woman, he's had a heart attack, I think twice, a stroke, and some other stuff going on with him. And so his wife posted a picture of him in the hospital bed. He's got all these tubes on and stuff. And she's feeding him food. And I just looked at the picture. I looked at that picture and I said, does she realize the optics of that? He's old and decrepit, sickly, and yet she's having to feed him. She's 47 years old. Now she's having to spoon feed him his food. He's better now, but the point that I'm making is those type of men run through and screw everything that ain't nailed down. And then they get to a point to where it's like, well, I got to give me a nurse now. A wife, a nurse now, because I can't take care of myself. And I'm thinking, did that woman go through all of that to be your nurse? So I'm saying that to say, men, if you are that man that's telling these other young men, don't get married, run through them all, try to have a ball, stop doing that. Because what you're not telling these younger men is one day you're going to wish that you settle down, as they say in the nation, to a good choice. That when it's through the thin, because they say they're thinking the thin through sickness and health, that you got somebody who's like, I've been with her for all these years and she's here to take care of me, or I'm here to take care of her. But, don't just settle down with a woman because it's like, well, baby, I'm going to choose you because you got good health insurance and I don't. You know what I mean? So anyway, I love and appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Welcome back, Donovan, to the States. So your cat had to make an appearance and everything like that. We have a Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you guys would donate to the channel, we love and appreciate you. Thank you, members, for being here. And all the new people who are new to this channel, stay tuned for great and awesome things as we move forward. We will see y'all live on Sunday with the Demetra K Show. I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll talk about a whole lot of things. I'm sure that's transpired throughout the week. I want to say Donovan does not have on arm warmers. Guess he's trying to lose weight. He said that he's gotten a little chunky. I don't see where, he looks the equivalent of Jimmy Walker to me. But, he's trying to lose weight and all that. So anyway.
Yeah, it's in the middle. I'm trying to look like a Cracker Barrel.
Or a crackhead. So anyway, y'all, we'll see y'all later. Love and appreciate y'all. Mwah! Have a good one. Peace.